When you think of 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games, most people think of or the cringe. Definitely plenty of cringe. My God, Jesus. But a game almost no one thinks about is the only Sonic game to put 3D in its name. I mean, other than Sonic Kart 3DX for the flip phone, because, No, I'm talking about your least played game on Sonic Mega Collection, Sonic 3D Blast. This Genesis title was supposed to be Sonic's big jump from 2D into 3D, as was the style at the time. But unlike his rival Mario, this was not a genre-defining masterpiece. No, this jump to 3D is what many consider to be Sonic's first major stumble. But sometimes, we can learn from our mistakes. And there's evidence that Sonic Team, and Sega as a whole, did exactly that. For a while, at least. Because after this, Sonic returned in a big way with the Sonic Adventure games. Are the adventure games perfect? Hell no. But without the lessons learned from the mistakes made in 3D Blast, I think they could have been a lot worse. Hey everyone, I'm Binkle Monkey, and these are the 4 mistakes of Sonic 3D Blast that made Sonic better. Mistake number 1, the story. Originally, Sonic plots were about as basic as a pumpkin spice latte wearing Uggs. Bad guy does bad thing, good guy has to stop bad guy. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles raised the bar, with new characters and all the world building they were able to do, all without any text or dialogue, mind you. And Sonic 3D Blast limboed right under that high bar. The plot is entirely told through these text boxes and still frames with slight animation for Sonic's longtime friends. You know them, you love them, the Flickies. Flickies are these birds from another dimension that can travel anywhere using large rings. And Dr. Robotnik learns of this and wants to use their power to find the Chaos Emeralds. So surprise! He puts them into robots. Sonic goes to Flicky Island. Wait, aren't the Flickies from another dimension? And sees all the Flickies are robots now. So he's all, oh hell no! And sets off to free the Flickies and stop Robotnik. We have regressed back to Sonic 1 levels of storytelling. Why are we supposed to be invested in saving the Flickies? What even is a Flicky? Well, if we deep dive into the Sega vault, we'll find that Flicky was an arcade game made by Sega in 1984, which they ported to the Genesis in 1991. The plot of Flicky is, you're a little blue bird who has to save even smaller birds called chirps. Wait a minute. Yeah, they reused the plot of an 80s arcade game for Sonic's big jump to 3D. Maybe I'm being harsh on a 2D Sonic game here. Are you really playing Sonic on the Genesis for the plot? Nah, you're playing it because it's fun to play. Which brings us to mistake number 2, the gameplay loop. If you've only heard the term gameplay loop, and at this point you're too afraid to ask, don't worry, I got you. A gameplay loop is the cycle of actions you repeat while playing a game. In a racing game, it's racing the race. In a fighting game, it's fighting the fight. In classic Sonic, it's sprinting from the beginning of the level to the end of the level. But it's more than just that. Sonic games reward your quick reflexes with fun set pieces, multiple paths to explore, and a sense of accomplishment for getting Sonic up to face-melting speeds. That's why you want to keep going through the gameplay loop. Sonic 3D Blast struggles with making the gameplay loop rewarding. Sonic's been tasked with saving the Flickies, but it's not like they're in a capsule at the end of the level. It's more involved than that. The Flickies are inside the Badnik enemies strewn across the levels, and now you have to smash them open and snag the bird from inside. Purple poop? Smash it. Snowman? Smash it. Cute robot alligator? Sadly, you gotta smash it too. The tougher enemy in this game, though, is the controls. It is such a slippery disaster, but if you can master the art of the butterfloor, you'll find all 5 Flickies in an area, take them to the big ring at the end, a door opens up, and you do it again. Like 2 or 3 times per level. Wait a minute. Yeah, they reused the gameplay loop of an 80s arcade game for Sonic's big jump to 3D. The only difference here is the mistake that ties the other mistakes together. Number 3, 3D. It can't go without saying, it is beyond impressive to pull off 3D on the Sega Genesis, a console that was not built with 3D in mind. But also, I mean, just look at it, it's rough, especially what they did to poor Tails. This style of 3D is called Isometric 3D, aka pseudo 3D. In Sonic, he's actually a 3D model turned into 2D sprites. This can look good. Super Mario RPG is isometric 3D, and it's charming as hell. Donkey Kong Country used the same 3D models as 2D sprites, and it's one of the best looking games on the Super Nintendo. But instead, Sonic gets these migraine-inducing checkerboard floors. Sonic does not thrive in isometric 3D, as it moves the camera from here to here. This camera style is usually reserved for games like SimCity or RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics, because isometric 3D wrecks your understanding of depth perception. Precision platforming through levels like Volcano Valley, where there are constantly pools of lava to avoid, sucks. But maybe worse is Gene Gadget with these moving platform walls that are so hard to climb. There are, of course, ways to help you manage these jumps. You just have to keep your eyes on everyone's favorite Sonic character. But isometric 3D messes up more than just jumping. It messes up speed. Levels aren't straight lines with different paths based on your verticality here. It's wide open, and there's no real way to pick up speed, and no reward of a hard-to-reach route for quick reflexes either. This is doubled down on by the gameplay loop that demands you find all the flickies hidden in all the badniks. So if you find branching pathways, they all eventually return to the same path, because you have to go everywhere and find everything to progress. It's forced exploration, but there's nothing exciting to find outside of the usual power-up shields, free lives, and Five Nights at Freddy's Tales. Those exciting set pieces of earlier Sonic games, like the loops and the ramps and everything, are technically still a form of a reward. You don't even have to push right to win here. They're also in very controlled areas of a level, and more like an auto-scroller. And that moment of game-controlled speed does not feel rewarding. What does feel rewarding in this game, though? I guess there's a sense of accomplishment for getting all 7 Chaos Emeralds from the laughably easy special stages. They unlock the true final level, but also, it's just 5 mini-games of dodge the attack that you have to do twice. Doomsday Zone, this is not. So none of this sounds very Sonic-y, right? Well, that's because Sonic Team wasn't involved. As soon as you turn on the game, after it yells, at you of course, you notice something odd. A new logo appears.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Traveler's Tales is a British game developer best known nowadays for making Lego game after Lego game after Lego game. They have a good reputation when it comes to game development, but that doesn't mean they're Sonic Team or know all the ins and outs of making a Sonic game. So while Travelers was hard at work making 3D Blast, Sonic Team was off in dreamland. Literally, making their very not a Sonic game, Nights into Dreams for Sega's new console on the block, the Saturn. Sonic Team was making this instead of a Sonic game for the Saturn. They actually handed that task off to Sega Technical Institute, the makers of Sonic 2 through Knuckles, just without any of the usual team around. Yuji Naka had already dipped back to Japan to work on Nights, so STI was left Sonic Teamless while making a Sonic game. Sonic Extreme, the 90s SF name they chose for that game, never made it out of its own personal development hell. And after one programmer quit and the other 2 got sick, most likely due to the 16 to 20 hour days they were putting into the project, Sonic Extreme was cancelled in 1997, leaving the Saturn Sonicless. The Band-Aid solution? Port Sonic 3D Blast to Saturn with a graphical update. This was far from a satisfactory solution. Like, if you're a Sonic fan, you most likely already had a copy of 3D Blast. And Sonic Team knew the game was a speedless, janky, boring time, and just let the re-release happen anyway. And despite looking and playing better on the Saturn, it did little to convince consumers to buy the console. The Saturn ended up selling just over 9 million consoles, while the Nintendo 64 pushed 32 million, and the PlayStation sold a whopping 102 million. This is by no means the only reason the Saturn failed. I mean, the $400 price tag did not help. And here comes Sony with the body bag!
$299.
And that was pretty much that. So, was Sonic 3D Blast just an ugly pseudo 3D game Sega had an outside developer make with a bare-bones story and a boring gameplay loop? I mean, yeah, it was all those things, but it was also a lesson. Even though the game was not a commercial failure by any means, selling 700,000 copies on the Genesis, having to port the game to the Saturn was disappointing to Sega, Sonic Team, and fans alike. Sega knew that if they were going to compete against Nintendo and Sony, Sonic Team and Sega needed to work together closely to make sure there was a console-selling Sonic game for their next console, the Dreamcast. And they did just that. Sonic Adventure is one of the most ambitious stories ever told in a Sonic game. The storytelling is flawed, to say the least, but you can't knock the attempt. The gameplay loop for most characters, I'm not talking about you today, no, not today, goes back to being rewarding with multiple paths to explore and different ways to get to the end of every level. The 3D is real 3D this time, complete with wonky camera controls. And for $19.99, this was really impressive. All of this put together by the people who know Sonic the best, Sonic Team. It's not a perfect game, but this course correction made for some of the most memorable gaming experiences I and many others had in the early 2000s. And if it wasn't for Sonic 3D Blast, that weird Sonic game that didn't feel like a Sonic game, Sega and Sonic Team may have never gotten their shit together, and who knows what might have happened to Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, I mean, Sonic Forces wasn't good, and everyone's kind of up in arms about Sonic Frontiers, but, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe? Please? Please, Sega?